Hey there.
Hey, Anthony, what is up? How's it going?
It's all right. It's okay. Um, actually, you know what? One cool thing. There's a girl I hadn't seen before in my job, and she walked in there. Thought she was pretty. Turns out she was checking me out. I found out, so I was like, okay. So that's just a new thing, and I'm gonna try to talk to her.
Here we go. There we go.
That's kind of nice. What's up with you?
Thought the show needed a love plot. I thought I was gonna have to force one between us, but
I mean, we could still do that.
we'd have a love triangle.
Absolutely, of course we can.
Yeah.
Is there any other way? Well, I'm already competing with what's her name you already have, so you know,
Yes, that's her name.
yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You and
Um,
her methods.
yeah. I mean, if there's anything I learned from the Twilight series,
Mm.
is that love triangles they work. They work.
Yeah, very successful, not toxic at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone turns out happy.
Exactly. It's great.
Yeah. I don't know why more people don't do it, but do it to them.
Bunch of losers, am I right?
Yeah. Bunch of single brain celled idiots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And us are three brain cell having
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
minds.
Yes.
We're not right here. We're right there. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
running up the score on them is what we're doing.
Exactly my point.
Hmm.
So I'll mess with you, dog.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. It's good. It's nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just watched Louisville lose a game in women's basketball.
Mm.
And of course I let that have too much impact on my emotions. So I'm feeling a little down.
I feel like you're a little too attached.
I was just annoyed. Yeah, we had the lead and then we scored like one field goal in the
Mm.
whole fourth quarter. It's very annoying. We played
Mm.
horrible down the stretch. But anyway,
Mm.
yeah. I was thinking we could talk about one of two things. Feel free to shoot one or both of them down.
Gotcha.
Just try and boost my mood here.
Okay.
Option A, we got we could talk about fun movies from our childhood, like
Okay.
childhood favorites. That's option A. Option B, NFL playoffs are going on right now. Super Bowl is coming up. I know you're not a big football guy. I was curious to see potentially how much football I could explain to you in what is this? We have 40 minutes. Less than 40 minutes now. In a below 40-minute time frame.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with A
Okay.
because if I go with B, what this is gonna turn into is like I'm in school again, and I'm gonna sit in class, and you're gonna say a bunch of words and nonsense that I don't give two shits for, and it's gonna go in one ear and right out the other, and I'm gonna leave this feeling like I don't know why I did this podcast.
Well,
That I'm just saying how it is.
yeah, you are. You are.
That's all.
All right. Well, movies it is.
Movies it is.
Before we get started, I just want to thank our sponsor, Coca-Cola. Uh, Greatest drink on earth. I drink it more than water.
Yes, because it is equally as hydrating.
Yeah.
It's actually more hydrating than water.
Yeah. 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 It's kind of like how in colonial times, how water wasn't safe enough to drink because they didn't have proper ways to store it or filtrate it. So they often drank beer because it contained water and it was safer because of the alcohol content. Same thing with Coke, basically.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Yeah. Well, I'll start this off. I know the first movie that I saw in theaters when I was a child. I don't remember seeing this, obviously, because I was a little baby boy, but it was Toy Story 2.
Mm, solid movie.
That's a great movie. The scene where he's fixing up Woody,
Yes.
stitching him up. Um, Love that scene.
It's very like aesthetically pleasing
Yes.
just to
And
watch it happen.
so satisfying because he
100%.
has one arm in the beginning and then he's got two arms afterwards.
Yes, like when he's painting like the boots and like polishing the eyes, it's just something about it.
It's great. It's great. I had a we had a DVD of like it was one of the DVD had like both the first two Toy Stories in it.
Mm.
Um, and then I as a kid used to put in the second Toy Story, and then I would just go to scene select, and I would just skip to that scene, and then I would watch the movie from that point on because you
What,
could what
why from that point?
just I loved that scene so much, and I wanted to watch it. Like you couldn't really go on YouTube back then and like just look up the scene and watch it. So I would just watch it from that point. I'd be like, well, the movie's playing. I guess I'll watch the rest of it.
That's interesting. When I was a mere boy, that's a movie that I apparently watched so many times that my mom knew all of the words to the movie. Apparently, I love that movie. Uh, I just found that to be
Yeah,
fun.
it's great. It's a fantastic movie.
It is
It's
fantastic.
really good. I think better than the first Toy Story. All
I
the
would.
I haven't seen the fourth Toy Story, but all the Toy Stories are great movies. One
They
through
are great.
I can't vouch for four just because I haven't seen it, but
Same. I
very
didn't need to watch four. Like the third one was such a perfect like wrap up. I was just like, I don't know why this even needs to exist, let alone go see.
yeah.
So in my mind, it stops at three.
Yeah, it felt weird then making a fourth one. I don't know. I've heard it's good. I've heard it is good. Um,
Yeah, I've also heard it's like decent or decent to good. I just don't.
you know what I've heard from multiple people is phenomenal.
Mm.
The new Puss in Boots movie.
Stop it.
I've heard it's incredible. Like
Ooh.
I right? Isn't that weird to think about?
Do you trust these people's opinions on movies?
One of them is my brother, so yes.
Oh, damn it.
Saw it in theaters. And he went up to me and my younger sister and was like, "Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing it again if you guys wanted to see it."
He was doing that thing. I'm down if you guys are down because it was whatever.
And so I'm like, okay, he's willing to pay to watch it again. It must
Yeah.
be really good. So, and then I've heard from other people that it is good, but just the fact that someone is willing to pay again to see it when they know it's going to be on streaming services not too long from now,
Yeah.
it's got to be pretty good.
Are you gonna go see it?
I'm interested now. I'm very interested. I
Very
never
interesting.
saw the first Puss in Boots movie. I've seen all the Shrek movies, which the first two are great movies. The third one is good. The fourth one was a letdown.
Yeah, I think I've seen up to the third one only.
Yeah, the fourth one is like I don't even remember. They blend. They like I get them confused. The plots of all of them.
Mm.
So I think the fourth one has to do with like Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think I've seen maybe a little few parts here and there for the fourth one.
I remember it's
In college or in school or something in that one.
I don't know. Like I think Shrek makes a wish or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
All I know is I remember the movie being very orange. Literally,
Mm.
like color palette is very orange, and I was like, it's different from the other ones.
Yeah, the more green, earthly colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So those movies are fantastic too. Shrek is again, it's another one. I think the second Shrek movie better than the first.
I would also agree. Yes.
Yeah, that one, that movie is so funny. That like, and there's that's another movie. I think DreamWorks movies do it more than Pixar movies, where they have references for the adults that are like being forced to take the kids there.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yes. I agree with that.
You know that like cops segment during Shrek
Yeah,
2.
I do. I
Yeah,
think it's hilarious.
not only is it cops, but when they're like flying above, like shooting them from the helicopter or whatever they're shooting from, uh, they're like, "We got a white Bronco going down the interstate,"
Yeah, that's right.
and it's like I wasn't gonna know that at age 8 or whenever I saw that movie,
Right.
but guarantee you got a huge laugh. And when you're a kid, if an adult laughs, you just follow suit.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
You're like, man, I don't know why, but this is hilarious.
Well, like I love a good movie and or show that you watch as a kid and you can go back and watch it and being like, oh, there's a lot of adult jokes in here. This thing is actually really funny. It's kind of like that with SpongeBob. Like it's entertaining and funny as a kid, but then you look back on it, no, that shit was funny. There were some actual jokes up in there.
Oh, and there's like smart jokes too, because
Yeah.
Stephen Hillenburg, the creator, he was a marine biologist
Yes.
before he started writing for television and everything. And so
Amazing.
there's jokes in there that are genius.
Yeah.
Like, so you know that episode where it starts off SpongeBob's watching TV and then Gary comes in the room and he's like, ah, and he quickly changes it
Yes.
to football and he's
Yeah.
like, hey, Gary. So what he was watching was like it was what was it? An anemone, I think. It might
Maybe something like that.
an enemy sounds right, but I'm not gonna. It doesn't matter. The point. The point is he was watching reproduction of an anemone. So to boil it down, basically he was watching porn and Gary walked in on him.
That's hilarious.
Genius joke.
I love that.
Another another thing that is so smart in the early seasons of SpongeBob is so there used to be like we have money now. We have cash, like hard money.
Mhm.
And like different civilizations have had different ways of different forms of currency.
Right.
Um, there was this one like ancient civilization that they kind of did a bartering system, but you could only barter if you had a rock that you carved into a circle.
Okay.
And so that was the only way you were allowed to barter. But the thing is, the way you had to get the rocks is you had to like traverse a river, which wasn't really that like difficult to cross. But you had to go to a river, get get a boulder, and then bring it back and then sculpt it.
Okay.
Um, or you could sculpt it like on the island and then bring it back. I don't know what was easiest. I wasn't alive then. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sounds a little far back.
yeah, like at least I don't know, 1995.
Yeah,
But
like maybe even the 80s. I don't know.
so there was this one like group of people that had gone across the river, found a boulder, sculpted it into a circle, uh, and then they put it on their boat to go back. But then there was a storm, and so they were trying to like navigate the storm along with the currents of the river, and the boulder just fell off the boat. And so when they got back, they were like, "Well, we made one; it just fell." And everyone was like, "Okay, we'll just accept you as having had you're part of the barter system now."
Sure.
The episode of SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs thinks Squidward stole his first dime,
Mhm.
and then Squidward, becomes unemployed, and like SpongeBob lets him stay with him until he gets back on his feet, and he starts just mooching off of SpongeBob, and then
Yeah.
at the end, when SpongeBob's like choking Mr. Krabs, and he's like, "Listen here, you crustaceous cheapskate,"
Yeah, that's right.
and then his first dime falls out from his back pocket. That's the boulder that the civilization would use to barter.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I do remember that. That's crazy.
That
That is so, that is so like left field. That's so, never would I ever.
yeah, it's so like And the crazy thing is, I know the way they write episodes in SpongeBob's writers' room is like when they're trying to figure out episodes,
Yeah,
everyone writes down just a title that they don't really have any idea for. They just write down a title of an episode. They fold it, they put it in a hat. All the writers draw a title, and then they have to just come up with an episode based on that.
interesting.
So the fact that they were able to come up with that based on just drawing a title out of a hat, it's genius. The early seasons of SpongeBob were so well written.
So well written,
They're so good.
hilarious jokes.
Yeah.
And immediately comes to my mind is when we were in school and we had Griggs had us watch an episode of SpongeBob for our TV thing, and I remember I remember Tamika being like, "Did I just pay all this money to watch an episode of SpongeBob?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no! Like, try to actually watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it is funny. It is well written, but you're so focused on the childish cartoon part of it that you can't look past it." Um,
Do you remember what episode we watched?
no, I don't. I wish I did.
I don't either.
I wish I did.
They're so good though. Like, I don't remember the context of this, but there's like a Jimmy Neutron, uh, like another like speaking of like stuff that like you rewatch and it's funny when you're an adult. There's an episode where they're like having breakfast or whatever, and Jimmy's talking to his dad, and he's like, "Jimmy, when I was your age, I sat on a banana, and well, that changed my life."
Yeah, I've seen this clip before.
So funny. It's so,
Like, I'm sorry.
and it's like I think I get it now. I think I get it now that I'm older.
I discovered something about myself that day.
Yeah, and then I know another really smart detail that like they never bring attention to in the show is when they go to that episode where they go to the pyramids. Did you watch Jimmy Neutron?
I did, yeah.
Okay, you know that episode when they go to the pyramids and then like there's a mummy chasing after him or something.
Maybe a little bit,
Okay,
maybe.
they go to pyramids in Egypt. There's a mummy chasing after him, but then they're like looking at the hieroglyphics on the wall, and then the one who was the black girl's name in the show? What was her character's name? I don't remember like hardly any of their names.
I don't remember any of it. I just know Jimmy, Sheen, and Carl
I know them.
was the cool guy who I think was Latino,
I don't
Hispanic,
Libby,
Livy.
Libby Colfax. That was
Sitting with the girl, the blonde-headed girl.
the black girl. Cindy Vortex was the blonde
Yeah.
girl. So Libby, she looked she had her hair a certain way
Mhm.
before that episode, and then when they go to the pyramid, uh she sees a black person like in hieroglyphics, like that looks exactly like her, but has like dreadlocks. And she's
Right.
like, "Oh," she's like, "Look at that. I didn't know I come from like royalty or whatever." And then from that point on, she has dreadlocks in the show.
Nice.
They never ever talk about it. They never like really like put the focus on it.
Yeah.
Just a small little detail that's fun.
I love that.
I love stuff like that. Yeah.
Same. There's like a bunch of stuff like that in like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Incredible show,
So good.
regardless of age. My God, and the animation in it is so beautiful, so well done.
It's it's so good. It's so good. And like uh we've talked about this before on
Yeah,
our free time, but like the shots that they use is for those watching right now, this is real nerdy stuff that we're getting into, but who cares? There's shots that we're getting into like that they do in Avatar Last Airbender. It's a cartoon. So there's no camera to work with per se.
yeah,
But what they do is they do tricks that you can use for an actual camera.
Mhm.
Like they like rack focus and and they do like dolly zooms and all that type of stuff, which is so cool because you don't need to do that.
By no means.
Yeah, but like you're just going the extra mile at that point. But it's so nice. It's
Truly, it is. it is a chef's kiss show.
It's a chef's kiss of a show. Yeah.
There's like a few weak episodes out of the whole series.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive in and of itself. But like the thing with like small details is that you can find a lot of instances where somebody will lose a particular item or a piece of clothing or something like that, and it's still going on for episodes on end.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of points after Aang got shot with the lightning, and you can still see in tiny frames here and there that like, oh, it's coming out of like because it came through his back and it shot out of like his left foot, and so you can see like the scar sometimes on his left foot in like certain positions and things like that, and keeping that continuity there the whole time. Like, appreciate that
Yeah.
detail. That show had no reason to be that good.
Yeah. It annoys me sometimes, not every time, but like it depends on the show. But it annoys me sometimes when like something like that'll happen in a cartoon, and then
Yeah,
the next episode, they just go back to like how they normally look or like how everything is.
right,
So, no, I want to see them have to deal with this obstacle now too. Like,
right. It's now a defining thing of them now.
yeah, like probably like Family Guy is something that comes to mind. But then again, that is the show that it is. Like, oftentimes, like things like their house getting destroyed will happen.
Yeah,
In the next episode, it's fine.
yeah. No, that's fine.
It's like I want to see you guys. I don't know, live in a destroyed house. I don't watch Family Guy anymore, but when I did, I was like, no, no, let's keep.
Right. Well, it's just because you wanted the thing to continue on. That's the kind of thing you would like to happen. Whereas like starting over, I'm like, oh yeah, let's start over. Like I don't care because it's obviously just not that kind of show. Like
Yeah,
Avatar, obviously, if it was doing that, I'd be like, okay, I don't know why I'm watching this because you have a very clear goal, and if it just starts over, I don't understand what the point of it is.
yeah. Avatar is very much like Breaking Bad, in the sense that like the whole uh, thesis of the show is change.
Yeah,
You can't have something stay the same because then that dismantles the entire ideology of the show. You know,
right.
like if something happens, people have to adapt and grow from it in the show.
Yeah,
You know, I heard Michael Schur talk about like the difficulties of writing jokes on a sitcom,
mm,
and he's like you have to have these moments of change for the characters, but each time that they change and grow and evolve as a character, you kind of like chink away at the armor, and,
yeah,
and that thing that made them funny, they're now less funny and they're more human.
mm,
And it's like you have to find that balance of trying to squeeze as much comedy out of something as you can versus you know making it a good show that's worth watching over the course of however many seasons, years, whatever it is.
right. Yeah, because they kind of just become a caricature, and they don't feel real, they don't feel grounded. Um, which when you have those things, it can actually help the jokes land even better and more, um, because you know how the character is and how it's going to affect them, and you also have this context of them, which can make it funnier or more efficient or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good old Flanderization of characters. You hear that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's from The Simpsons. Uh, their neighbor in the show, Ned Flanders.
Yes.
Uh, he like how would you characterize Ned Flanders? Do you watch The Simpsons ever?
I mean, no, but I mean, I understand the character. He was kind of like the goody two shoes, all good of a dad. Look at me and my successful job and my nice house, and kind of like that character for Homer to be like, "Damn it, Ned, like look at you with this nice life, and I don't have that."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. But then there's also like he's like a super religious freak. They like
Yes, they also use those things to make fun of him too. Yeah,
um, at the start of the show, he was a lot more well rounded
Mhm.
of a character, and he wasn't like he had a wife and everything, so it wasn't just like him and his boys, you know.
right,
But then as the show went on, he just became more and more and more and more and more of the goody two shoes, like I love Jesus type of guy,
right.
uh, which can be funny. Like you said, it can make like I
Yeah,
know it's like Creed Bratton. That was my
yeah.
favorite because Creed is so just absurd. He's ridiculous.
Absolutely, 100% ridiculous.
But he got funnier as the show went on because he just became more and more like insane and more Creed
Yeah,
as opposed to a realistic character. But that made the show better. With
Mhm.
something like Ned, it's like yeah, it's funny, but now it's like you just took out plot lines for yourself.
right. Which kind of goes to show The Simpsons as like a whole, because it's just a series that like was good for like I don't know 7, 8, 9 seasons or something like that usually, and then from there it just gone down, down, and down and down. Which goes to say that, and then I would say for like The Office, like Creed was even like a supporting character. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not part of the main cast, and he's just like he's in there just enough to get that really funny joke, and so he's really allowed to just be that way because you're just really not gonna like see him or interact with him for a majority of the episode or whatnot. You're not really like keeping track of Creed.
Yeah, but eh, it's just interesting how sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's no rules, baby.
Uh, yeah, yeah, pretty much. There's not really many rules to anything. Um, a quote I really like from Bruce Lee is efficiency is anything that scores. So still got there,
Yeah,
you know.
that is true. That is.
Yeah, I mean, you're writing your stuff or trying to do this thing, and it's just like, well, it's not gonna be how like anybody else did it, um, because like lives and the path of life that one takes is very different, but you got there all the same. So what does it really what does it really matter? You know, and some movies that are considered to be like cult classics, but critically like terribly reviewed, but people love them.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's more to being so technical on something and doing it so correctly. I'm just like, yeah, heart can take you just as far as like talent can.
Yeah. Nepotism helps too.
There's just
Yeah.
well, sure, I guess you can add a dose of that in there too, if you want.
Um, you ever seen Crash?
No, actually.
That's a movie that's like reverse of what you were saying. Is it was very critically acclaimed, won the Oscar for Best Picture.
Mm.
Um, that movie is hysterically bad at sometimes.
Wow.
It is. It's like it's just an awful movie. It's really really bad.
Yeah.
There are some points in the movie where it's like so bad that you can laugh at it. Like I'm trying. There's so the movie's about like racism and prejudice, and it's like, oh, everyone has these prejudices and biases, and then it's like very inconsistent in its messaging. Like there's a racist cop character who has like a redemption arc. He
Right.
like so he basically um he sexually assaults a woman that he pulls over for like speeding or something while
Mhm.
he's like patting her down. And then later that woman gets in a car wreck and her car is flipped upside down and her seatbelt is stuck, and gas is leaking from the car. It's like about to explode, and he's the officer that has to save her. And it's seen as a very like powerful moment.
Right.
You know, it's not. A racist cop just did his job this time. It's
Yeah.
all, yeah. And like, so the part that like I remember that is so funny to me is in between those two moments, that woman, she is like, she goes to her husband's place of work to like yell at him for not like standing up for her in front of the cop. And he's like, he's a cop. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to attack him and then I go to prison? Like,
Right.
I can't do that. And so she runs away crying. But the way she runs away, she's like flailing her arms all around. And it's like, how did this win Best Picture? It's so funny. It is so funny, and it won Best Picture.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like they think that they know what they're doing and what they're talking about. And I'm not saying they don't, but then like stuff like that gets through, and I'm like, I don't really understand. Did you just need another movie to put in the category to give it something, or what? Because that's not making no sense. And you keep making films that nobody wants to see, even though people are asking for stuff. 'Cause I've heard like the new Velma Scooby Doo animated show. It's apparently terrible, so terrible. I'm like, that's such a shame. But like, you know, I haven't watched it, so I can't really say anything. But the fact that like, oh, y'all did this and y'all really just fucked that up like that, that's crazy.
I've heard bad things about a lot of like recent like Scooby Doo stuff that they're doing, like the Scoob movie. I
There's-
heard bad things about that.
mhm.
This Velma show, I've heard it was not good, which
Yeah.
sucks. Lynn Howard plays Fred.
Mhm.
That's great casting. That's fantastic casting.
Yeah.
Like that's a very very good Fred. Plus I love Scooby Doo. I absolutely loved Scooby Doo when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Watched the Harlem Globetrotters episode so many times,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
and it's a shame that they're ruining. It's like just go back to like the movies that were good, you know? Like
Yeah. I
or
mean, at least make some, I don't know, just something more original in a sense. Like, because you just kind of took this thing and it seems like you were trying to do something with it, but you didn't take it far enough. And it's almost like, well, going off of some of the comments I've seen, it's like they were trying to have an original show, but they had to use the Scooby Doo face on it.
that's the same thing people said about Scoob.
Yeah, and it's just like, just let you clearly do better with something original because these things are failing terribly. And I get that, with these properties, you kind of have to use them after a certain amount of time, otherwise you lose it or whatever. However, it's just like, all right, how many times are we gonna have to go through this, old man? How many times are we gonna teach you this lesson, old man?
I love young people.
Exactly. Before you're just like, why are movies doing bad? Because you make terrible decisions based on almost nothing.
And so um Scooby Doo is owned by Warner Brothers, which is owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. They did a merger. Um, and the CEO of that company is awful. He's terrible. He has he's got a reputation of like he does not care about anything other than strict dollars and cents. Like
Yeah.
nothing to him. And so like they they were gonna do a sequel to Scoob. He scrapped that. It never even hit theaters. They did that so that it could be a tax write off. They did that with the what was it, Batwoman movie.
Mhm.
Like I think what was it?
Oh, that was the reason that HBO Max just like fell apart in a sense, and all these shows. That's right. That's right.
That woman movie cost like $90 million to make or something like that.
Damn.
And he's like, nope, it's never going in theaters or on a streaming service ever. No one will ever see this movie. We're gonna get a tax break for this movie.
Imagine being that actress. I am fucking Batman.
She was like, "Oh my god, I'm on top of getting paid a ton of money for this movie." She's like, My career is probably about to take off. I'm a superhero. That is so big for your career right now.
100%
No one but the editor and the director will ever see that movie.
crazy. So fucked up.
It, it's all it's
Absolutely not.
very.
I would have a BF, bro.
You have a BF.
I would have a BF.
I don't know what BF stands for.
Have you not seen White Chicks?
I have seen White Chicks.
A bitch fit. Oh my god, sir.
There we go.
I was like, is he serious?
That's a great movie.
It's a classic. It's so stupid, and I fucking love it.
It's a movie that I think critics hated.
Oh, they hated it,
So funny.
but it lives in the hearts of the people, bro.
That is such a great movie. Nick Cruz is fantastic in that movie. He's so good.
You're telling me you're not a woman, black? I mean, white? He's like, what? But I'm not Negro, please. Don't you know that this is an all white party? Somebody get this jigaboo out of here. That shit fucking, oh my God. The deception, the
Oh,
betrayal. Oh, so funny.
the Wayans are great too. Like they're so good at making parody movies. Like Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
I can't remember that long ass title, but yes, I've seen it.
That is so funny. That is such a funny movie.
Ridiculous ass movie.
It's so good.
And the
It's
scary movies too. Did they help with that stuff, right?
yes, so Keenery
Keener.
that's not his name. Keenan Ivory
Yeah.
Wayans. Jesus Christ. Keenan Ivory Wayans
Uh,
wrote and directed the first scary movie.
Mhm.
And then so he like sold it, got it made, got it in theaters. He might have done the second one as well, but basically I'm pretty sure by the third movie they had basically stolen the series from the Wayans.
Damn.
Like they made it, they came up with the idea, they
Mhm.
were a huge part in why it was what it was.
Mhm.
And then they stole it from him, probably I would assume to make more movies,
Yeah.
so make more money off of it because it's
Sure.
like scary movies.
Yeah. Why not just take it? You know, that's what they do. People in power, they don't want it until they see it succeeds, and like, oh, we want it, and then we're also going to take all the responsibility and stuff, or it being successful before we had it.
The Wayans make Henry Wayans makes great movies though. He's
Yeah,
very good.
fight the power that be.
Yeah.
Wow, I really felt the emotion behind that.
His hundreds of years of history in those two fists just now.
Hundreds of years. Shut your ass up.
Yeah, so I will do that.
Yeah, great.
All right, let's see.
Last legs anyway, so may it be well.
Yes, may your legs be well as well. Did I say it right?
They no, it's fine. My legs look great though. I'm working out. Anyway, goodbye.